Mama is here. I love you so. Papa is here. Mama is here. I'll never let go. I love you so. Mama is here. Papa is here. Mama is here. I love you so. I love you so. Papa is here. Mama is here. Never let go. I love you so. You are alive. Papa is here. Shining so bright. Sun have no fear. We're all shining so bright. Sun have no fear. We're all shining so bright. Sun have no fear. We're all shining so bright. Sun have no fear. We're all shining so bright. Sun have no fear.
Good morning, everyone. We're just a few minutes behind. We are waiting for the family to log in. Thank you so much for your patience.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your patience. We are working on getting the family into the meeting room. They will be in very shortly. As soon as they are in, we will start the press conference. Again, thank you for your patience.
Good morning, everyone. We are about to start. I do believe that we will need Syesha and Ty. If you can flip your camera to the side, I believe that the press is having a hard time seeing you. So Miss Lee did ask if we could flip your camera to the side. And then once we have that, we will be ready to start. Syesha and Ty, can we get you back on camera? Could I just ask the press if they can see the family the right way up now? Fantastic. And could I get all panelists, if you haven't put your video on yet, please do so now. Fantastic. Okay, good morning, everyone. Our apologies for the delay. We had some technical difficulties on the part of the family. We are all here now. We are all so pleased to be here in this space. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rebecca Ying. I'm a family lawyer based in Toronto, and I'm also a member of the activist organization We Have the Right to Be Right. I'll be your host and moderator for today's press conference. We are here today to hold space for Syesha Mercado and Tyrone Diener and their family members, as well as their legal team, to speak with you about their quest for justice to bring their 2 young children back to a loving home. We first would like to facilitate a moment of silence for families in this city, state, country, and worldwide who have been unjustly and forcibly broken by an often unforgiving and powerful legal system. We send our solidarity, strength, and support to each and every parent, child, and family member who has been involuntarily separated from a loved one. There will never be enough prayers, meditations, and well wishes for the grieving families like this one who have been traumatized by an imperfect, insensitive, and often violent system.
Mama is here. I love you so. Papa is here. Mama is here. I love you so. Papa is here. Mama is here. I love you so. Papa is here. Mama is here. I love you so.
Today, we are hoping to spread awareness and gain momentum while amplifying this family's voice and facilitating access to their legal and media teams. This morning, we will start off our meeting with a message of support from Jasmine Rand and Benjamin Crump, national civil rights attorneys for the families of George Floyd, Ahmed Arbery, Trayvon Martin, and many more. Good morning, Benjamin. Good morning, Jasmine.
Attorney Rand will start.
Good morning. First, I want to say that we are honored to stand beside Syesha and Tyrone to fight for them to safely reunite with their child. We are equally honored to stand beside 2 great attorneys, Derek McBurrows and Luis Baptiste, in this fight to reunite these children with their parents. Attorney Crump and I, as many of you know, have fought for many mothers and fathers throughout our nation who have lost their children's lives to systemic racism, including Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown, and most recently, the families of George Floyd. Typically, we are fighting for a child that has already been lost. Their lives have already been lost to systemic racism. But we are equally committed to fighting systemic racism in all of its forms and wherever it rears its ugly head. Today, we are going to focus on these 2 loving parents, Syesha and Tyrone, who have been deprived by CPS of their children. And I want to introduce next attorney Benjamin Crump, who is one of the world's really leading civil rights leaders, who was recently dubbed by Reverend Al Sharpton as Black America's Attorney General. And we want Syesha and Tyrone, this legal team, to know that as a collective of attorneys, activists, and artists, that we are committed to standing together to break every chain of systemic racism that plagues our nation, whether it's through police brutality, through education, in our healthcare system, and in depriving families of their most fundamental right to raise their children in a safe and loving home. Syesha and Tyrone, we're here to stand beside you, and beside your attorneys, Derek McBurrows and Luis Baptiste, we commit to reuniting you with your children. Attorney Benjamin Crump.
Thank you, Attorney Jasmine Rand and Attorney Rebecca Ying. And certainly to all the activists, Darnisha, it is important that we are united. The world knows we're united in this, that we will stand up for our children, that we will speak up for our children, and that we will fight for our children. Because if we don't fight for our children, we can't expect anyone to fight for our children if we don't fight for our children. And so to Syesha and Tyron, we're with you. They had their 2 children removed from their loving home, a son, and most recently, their newborn daughter. We have all seen the video that went viral of the police taking their newborn daughter from her mother's arms on the side of the road without wearing masks, making a spectacle out of this Black family and publicly dehumanizing them. We have seen the systematic racism too often that when our children, Attorney McBarrows, become early teens, they are targeted by the school to prison pipeline. And because of the systematic racism and oppression that Attorney Rand talked about, they make up the prison industrial complex disproportionately. But this morning, Attorney Lanita Baker, we're having to literally fight them from taking our Black babies. They didn't even get to be Black teens before they got caught up in this trap of intellectual justification of discrimination, where whether it's DCF or it's the Department of Corrections, they are justifying taking our Black children from us. And this we must defend. And so that's why I'm proud to work with these young lawyers, these young activists, the National Bar Association, all standing united to say our children's lives matter and Black lives matter, whether DCF or Department of Corrections. Tyron and Syesha, we are here to fight with you to the end until we can get your children home back safely to you all. And I thank you again, Attorney Rand, Attorney McBarrows, Attorney Yin, and all the found attorneys who are giving up their time and energy for something that's not just about Taisha and Tyron, but it speaks to issues to the larger society here in America and the world. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney Crump. And thank you so much for making time to join us this morning. I know you have a very busy schedule, and I believe that the press will say and the panelists will say goodbye to you now. So thank you again for making the time today. Next, we are going to hear from the family. The family is going to say a few words about what has been happening to them on a daily basis, the experiences that they are having, how they're feeling, any messages they would like to give to family, friends, and loved ones, as I know that the family has been inundated with support, and it's absolutely an overwhelming time. And we are most delighted to give them a platform to share their thoughts and feelings and their messages widely. So I will invite Syesha and Tyron, the parents of the 2 children that Attorney Crump was just speaking about, to the stage.
Yeah, we would just like to share just gratitude and appreciation to everyone, you know, just inside our country and outside our country that's reached out to us and gave us unconditional support to know that there has been an extreme injustice that's been done towards our family. And all we want is our babies home, and to have the people that are responsible for taking our babies hold them accountable. So we just want our babies back. And then we also want to show gratitude and appreciation to everyone that's been here supporting us and can clearly see what has been done to us. Breathe. Just know the only thing that we have ever done as parents is make responsible decisions, loving decisions. And along that, since the beginning, and going to get assistance with our son, Ahmed, we have been judged. We've been judged because of how we present ourselves, our culture, the way we look, the way we articulate ourselves. And that has been criminalized. And we live in this country where it's diversity, there's culture. And we have to move forward collectively to be able to respect each other. And we have had our son, Ahmed, and our daughter, Aset, removed from us through the lack of understanding and through being judged. And there's days, every single day, there's no words that I could express to my wife to be like, it's gonna be all right. Because our baby should have never been taken from the first place. If Child Protective Services were doing their jobs properly and communicating with us properly and not judging us, our babies would have never been removed. And so we felt the need from the time Ahmed was removed to speak out, because we are law-abiding citizens. We are a contribution to our community. We live a life of service. Anybody that needs help, we see that your problem is our problem. So the fact that we have no criminal background, we have no history with Department of Children and Families, the way that they have been attacking us, judging us, and critiquing us, that's outside of their job. You know, it's supposed to be, they're supposed to be working hand in hand with families, not destroying families. And so some of the things they have done towards my family is outside of their job and their job description. The only thing that we have been focused on is getting our babies back for the past 6 months, and recently they're taking our daughter for no reason at all through an agenda, and you can see it clearly that they wanted to take our babies. You know, we had just threats on threats on threats, nothing in regards to building and trying to understand us. So we don't have any negativity in our heart. We don't wish nothing bad on anybody. We just want them to do the right thing, return our children to us, our babies to us, and let us live our lives in peace and honor that Constitution. That's all I'm saying. My family, as a man, my family is my life. It's my job to protect them. And they have attacked us at a level that I'm not able to fulfill my role as a man to protect my babies and my wife. That is my purpose within my life. And the way that they have been coming at us, they are eliminating me from my position to protect my own family. And then judging me on the basis of being a father and a husband, that, you know, passing judgment on me that I'm not allowed, that it's being judged for me to be protective over my family, that I'm supposed to just allow them to just take my babies and to document and misrepresent my wife and myself and my entire family. Those days are over with. So I can feel my wife. We are connected. And sometimes, like, you got to remember, my wife has had 2 of our babies ripped from her in a state of trauma that most will not even understand. You would have to experience it. And every single day we got to wake up. We have to look at our baby's setup and look at their swings and look at their bedding, and they're not here, and we have not committed any crime. We have not abused our babies. We have not done anything that is irresponsible as parents. And we have law enforcement watching us and following us and tracking us and listening to us every single second as if we have a criminal background. So if this can happen to us, it can happen to anybody. So even if what has happened in regards to what I don't wish this on no mother, to have to give birth and my wife even still healing from giving birth, to have to go through that and see and on the side of a road to have our daughter take from us, the fact they couldn't even escort us and go into a more presentable situational environment, to be dehumanized like that, I have no words for it. But in my position as a man, I don't have any issues with any of their departments from CPS or DCF. People have lied, they have falsified information, they have done a lot of different things. Now, our lawyers are doing their job. But at the same time, we are angry at you. We just want our babies back, and we want everybody that has been a part of removing our children to be held accountable. It's that simple.
So, this is my first time being a mom. And I've been deprived of holding my babies and feeding my babies. I didn't get to see Ra say mama for the first time. And I didn't get to see my babies meet for the first time. I didn't get to see that, and I can't go back and redo that moment. I'll never be able to go back and redo that moment. And I'm just missing out on so many precious moments. This is such a precious time. Like, I feel my daughter. I feel when she's hungry. I know when she's crying. And I can't do anything. She's not here with me. And I'm supposed to be comforting her. I'm supposed to be loving my babies. I'm supposed to be outside with them and having building experiences. And Ra's supposed to be playing his drum with us. And I've been deprived of that. And I don't know how to articulate it. But it hurts so bad. So the only way we get through is literally, there's just a strength that comes every day to get us through the day. And we just stay focused on them being home. And that's all we can do.
Thank you both so much for sharing that with us. Thank you both so much for bringing the public into your home, into your family. We're all standing with you. And we know that your words will reach your children. Again, that was Syesha Mercado, Tyrone Diener, the parents of Amin Ra and Aset, who have both been removed from the parents' care. Next up, we have Derek McBurrows and Luis Baptiste. They are the lawyers of record for Syesha and Tyrone. I will welcome them to the stage.
Good morning, world. Thank you, Attorney Ying. Thank you, Attorney Benjamin Crump, Attorney Rand. This is just it's a traumatic experience that this family has had to endure. And I just want to bring attention to Ty and Sy because I just really celebrate their love, their strength, their endurance, their perseverance, all the accusations, the false narrative that's been created against them. That's just so unjust, so against the legislative intent, for the Florida statutes, Chapter 39, for anyone that's interested. They're totally ignoring the law. They're totally ignoring these parents' constitutional right guaranteed by the 14th Amendment via the Equal Protection Clause and the Due Process Clause to raise their children, to practice their vegan lifestyle, to practice the religion that they would like to practice, their faith that this Constitution provides, without judgment. I want to also bring attention to the visitation experience. Like I'm permanently changed by, just going to the visitation experience at Safe Children's Coalition. When I shadowed their visitation experience with Ra, and with Ahmed. I mean, the facility was absolutely disgusting. I could just see the tension on Syesha's face when she saw that. You know what I mean? They were still trying to engage their children, still playing the drums with their children, still expressing and imputing joy in their family in such a tough and traumatic circumstance, with somebody watching over their shoulder. You know, the time, and them saying it's 5 minutes left. You know what I mean? I can only sense the pain that they feel as a father of a 13-year-old myself. I will never be the same after experiencing that type of pain and shame that they had to go through. And they did it with a smile. You know what I mean? Because their 5 children were together. In that moment, they still, focused on love. They focused on the right aspect. And I just really want to bring attention to their strength, to their solidarity. And I celebrate their perseverance. And we will bring these children home. The next legal steps that we're taking now is we're filing a Franks motion. For anyone that's interested, it's a United States Supreme Court case. It's Franks v. Delaware. And ultimately, the state has submitted a probable cause affidavit that has a substantial amount of fake news in it, false accusations in it, that they submitted to the court through a verified motion. This verified motion is essentially it's an attestation of good faith, that these facts were accurate, these facts were true, that they had a good faith belief in it, and we have explicitly refuted evidence that shows that it's false. There are multiple false narratives that they're using to unjustly separate these children from their family. And we're taking every legal action, to make them hold every actor and even the court respectfully accountable. We're also filing a motion for reconsideration because we believe that there's some misapplication of the facts and misapplication of the law. We're also considering filing an appeal with the second DCA. And since the family has constitutional rights that have been violated, we may try to get this case in a federal court so they can have a better, fair, more equal opportunity to have their rights, heard before a competent court of jurisdiction. I just want to thank our team. I want to thank Tamika Mallory for shedding her light and love and advocacy on this matter. Tatiana Ali, Attorney Lanita Baker, Attorney Jasmine Henderson, obviously Attorney Benjamin Crump and Attorney Rand, obviously my co-counsel, Attorney Louis Baptiste. I thank Attorney Stephen Webster for the mentorship. We thank Attorney Dennis Slate, a Houston-based lawyer who's going to be joining our legal team here very shortly, a subject matter expert with this type of a case. And we will win this case. We will bring these children back home. And lastly, very briefly, Ahmed Ra's name means light, and Aset's name means bring all things together. And I just want to assure you that the light will set with these children safely back with their mother and their father. And I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Attorney McBurrows.
Louis Baptiste here. I'm co-counsel on the case with Attorney McBurrows. I think he covered a lot of the larger issues. I won't repeat much of what he covered, but I will cover, for those of you who are interested, the several statutory violations committed by DCF. And so one, it's important to recognize that the federal and Florida Constitution recognize that parents have the right to make decisions as it relates to their children. Number one, I think it hasn't been said, but it needs to be said, that these are 2 healthy children. Aset is a healthy, beautiful baby girl. She was in full health when DCF ripped her out of her parents' hands. There's not a single record that exists that refutes the fact that Aset is a full, healthy baby girl, and yet and still she was ripped out of her parents' hands. That fact alone shows that this case is not based on any Chapter 39 factors, or that this case is not based on any logic or law or intent or interest to protect, that this case is based on an animus that has been developed against this family, against their beliefs, against their practices, against who they are, against how they choose to eat, against what they choose to eat. The very core items that the foundation of our country was built to protect are being attacked right now. If this family can be attacked because they choose to believe what they believe in, if this family can be attacked because they choose to practice a vegan lifestyle, then that shows that no family is safe, that no child is safe, because Aset, again, is a beautiful, healthy baby girl. And yet, as of this moment, she's not at home. It's important that we know that every prior to DCF taking her out of her mother's hands, every single minute of her life, she was with her mother. Every single second that she existed, she was with her mother. And not only was she with her mother, but the mother and the father had a full support team that consisted of every specialist and every medical personnel you could require and want for this child was already in the home. That information is in DCF's possession. And we're hoping that DCF reviews that information and makes the intelligent, right, and legal decision and immediately restores Aset back to her family, because that's where she belongs. But we'll want to note that. Secondly, addressing Amin-Ra. Amin-Ra is a healthy baby boy. And I think the narrative that hasn't been displayed and that needs to be put out is that every single time Amin-Ra was brought for any medical attention, he was brought by this family. This family sought at every single instance, they sought help. They sought help. They sought guidance. It was all them. This isn't a case. In often these cases, you have what we call mandatory reporters, which are school officials, daycare officials, and you get a mandatory report that at that point initiates an investigation. That's not this case. There's no mandatory reporters. All we have are parents who love their children making the best decisions for their children. And so based on that alone, under the DCF chapter 39, under 01, which is definitions, under subsection 47 and subsection 35, recognize that these parents have the right to seek their choice of medical treatment, that these parents have the right to practice their beliefs and get medical treatment that complies with their beliefs, that is safe. And the record needs to be clear that at every single instance, these parents have done that, that Sy and Ty at every single instance have always made the best medical decisions for their children, and that they're going to continue to do so. And so our demand and our goal is simple: to bring these kids home. We're exploring all the legal options that Attorney McBurrows spoke about. But generally, outside of those options, we're calling on DCF to do what's right. We're calling on DCF, its staff, CPS, everyone involved in that, every stakeholder involved in that process, to recognize what's going on here, to recognize the injustice, and to recognize that these children need to be back with their parents. And as far as a timeline, we're working immediately. And so I can tell you that we're facilitating conversations with DCF, that we are conversing, that we are speaking. If our goal is to have the children home by 5 p.m. today, whether or not that's going to happen, we can't be sure of. And insofar as addressing the legal timeline, there are hearings that are being planned and set. Some of the motions that we filed, we're filing motions to expedite, motions to reconsider. And our hope is that we can get some of those timelines expedited. And so this case is full throttle. We're working on this case all day, every day, 18 hours a day. We're in contact with the family and with this team to bring these kids home. And so it's a moving timeline. We're requesting hearings as soon as they're available. And with that, if there's any questions, I'll defer to Ms. Yang.
Thank you so much, Attorney Baptiste. That was fantastic. Thank you, Attorney McBurrows. We're going to move to a brief Q&A section. There's a lot of questions in the chat. Some were emailed in. There is a Q&A button for attendees at the bottom of your screen. I'm going to bring Mr. McBurrows back to the stage to answer some questions on behalf of the family. I'll also bring the family up on the stage alongside their counsel. So the first question that came in, Attorney McBurrows, was, what was the reason that DCF and Child Protective Services gave for removing the children? Are you able to answer that at this time?
Sure, I can grace the surface. Just for anybody that doesn't know, a dependency hearing is confidential. Those records are typically sealed. If I would love, to release the probable cause affidavit so the public can see how salacious and misrepresented people who are attested to, do what's in the best interest of the children haven't. That has been ultimately attacked on these family belief, and false information has been presented to the court, which has unjustly separated these precious children from their family. So one of their chief concerns is with the older child, Ahmed, 18-month-old, was medical neglect. Just it's up under the umbrella of medical neglect. That the mother didn't seek medical attention prior to a medical visit back on February 26th at Johns Hopkins All Children's Hospital. We've explicitly provided evidence that completely refutes that. It's a complete lie. It's a complete fabrication. Back in January, we produced records to CPI, Manatee County Sheriff's Office, their Child Protective Investigations Unit. We presented information to the Children Legal Services, and we presented information to the court that the mother sought medical attention for this child at Inglewood Community Hospital, January 30th of this year. Yet they keep presenting this, a lie. Saying that the mother never sought medical attention. The mother was having lactation issues. This is a first-time mother who was seeking help. Yet she was criminalized. Yet she was labeled so that she could ultimately be misbranded, so that they can justify removal and removal from this, these children from their family. So that in a nutshell is it. Then, for example, with the newborn child, they're piggybacking off of Ahmed being in a temporary medical placement to justify their removal of this child. But Florida law is explicit. When there's a child that's that's up under the jurisdiction of the court, and there's a newborn child that's born into the situation, CPS was supposed to do a 30-day assessment prior to that child being born, the newborn being born. And they were supposed to come in and do a safety assessment plan. It was supposed to be a team building intervention time, but they waited to just basically ultimately misrepresent things to this family so that they could come and remove this child unjustly. And we have all the medical records. We have all the reports from Child Protective Services to present this to a court of competent jurisdiction to prove that.
Thank you so much, Attorney McBurrows. Another question that came in was, who are the children currently being fostered by, and are they together?
And ultimately, I want to, even although I believe this person is a bad actor, I have a good faith to say that. But we're going to, since this child is currently placed these children are currently placed in this estranged relative's care.
Wait,
I think
sorry,
Attorney McBurrows, I think Attorney McBurrows went on mute, but I think what he was finishing is that the children are together. We don't want to give out information related to who they're with for their safety. And so what we'll say is the children are together, that they're not with their parents, they're not where they belong, and that they're not with the person that the parents would choose. Their setting is not a setting in which the parents would choose. And so that's what we'll limit our comments to on that issue, because that is protected information.
Thank you so much. Another question that came in was a question about how long the process might take to reunite the family, and what is the expected timing for the family and for the legal process.
And so that's a somewhat moving question to answer. And that's the reason that's a moving question is right now there's two separate cases. And so Ahmed Ra's case, of course, is the senior case, and it's already been pending. And so there's already been certain findings of fact that make it so that case has to be litigated. It's going to require more work. And so we don't have a firm timeline on that case yet, only because the one's not available. Secondly, on Asset's case, because that train has just left the station, essentially, we're hoping that we can, get a hearing on that case, before September is our hope to get a hearing on that case within the next week and a half. And that ultimately, I'll say is our goal is for DCF to recognize that Asset is a healthy baby girl, and that all the resources that any mother, and let's just be clear, all the resources that any mother could want are already in place. Not that they could need, because I can tell you that all these resources that they have aren't necessary. But for the sake of Asset's health and her wealth, we have all these resources available, and we're hoping the DCF recognizes that and returns her, like I said, within either today or before the end of the week is our expectation and our hope, based upon the documents that we have given them that show that she's in perfect health.
Thank you so much. Another question came in that Ty mentioned 3 other children, and I think the press just wanted some clarification on who those children are and where they are currently.
And those 3 children are with Ty and Sy. So essentially, I want to make sure that I'm within the bounds of the law. But we have another child protective investigations department or a neighboring county that have deemed Ty and Sy a suitable and safe placement. Their 3 children are currently in their care now. I've spent, since Tuesday, I've spent over 70 hours, 80 hours with this family. I see how they pay attention to literally every detail of their children's lives. So essentially, you have an arbitrary decision from another CPI office, Manatee County Sheriff's Office, their Child Protective Investigations Unit, that have arbitrarily departed from the application of the law. And again, they're misrepresenting facts. Even for example, Tuesday evening, Ty explicitly called the Child Protective Investigator Unit, the CPI and the CPI supervisor to produce their daughter. Ty even called, even in conjunction with me, approximately the Manatee County Sheriff's Office, their online dispatch office, approximately 11:30 that night to request to speak to an on-call investigator. We spoke to Allie, operator ID number 11, saying, hey, we have a court order to produce this child. You know what I mean? We want to comply with this court order. Yet Manatee County Sheriff's Office the following day, and that wasn't obviously that wasn't allowed. The on-call investigator, they couldn't basically operate from an external request. They had to get an internal request to come in and retrieve the child. So the family was forced to produce this child the following morning. Now, Manatee County Sheriff's Office, being on notice, duly noticed that this parents was going to en route to produce this child, chose to make a circus of this event and pulled them over on the side of the road and treated these parents like criminals. That's the video that you saw, that received over approximately 3 million views. That was so unnecessary, so unjust. It was discriminatory. It was meant to, I don't know if they want a promotion or they want to, ride the curtail of, Syesha's success, but it's totally uncalled for. We had a total of 4 children in this vehicle, and they chose to exploit this thing instead of basically, treat it in a humane and dignified way. And we're going to bring light to it in the very best way that we can.
Thank you so much. Another question that came in was, do the parents have visitation on a regular basis?
Right now, I believe the family's visiting the family has visitation once a week.
Thank you so much. We're getting a lot of questions about specifics, and I would just like to remind the press that we appreciate those questions. They are fantastic, but because this is an ongoing matter in court, and as the family's attorneys have mentioned, a lot of the information is protected, and we are also trying to protect as many individuals' privacy as possible, including the children. So there are certain questions that I will not ask. I'm going to vet them right now. And I will let the press know it's not because we do not want to engage with you. It's not because the family doesn't want to answer those questions. It's because we want to preserve their rights and not have any prejudice from this press conference going forward. I have written in the chat as well that all requests for individual interviews and follow-up can be directed to wehavetherighttoberight@gmail.com. We're going to go for one last question, and then we are going to wrap our press conference up. So the last question, and I think that I would ask Sy and Ty to answer this question. The question was, what can we do to support the family?
Don't turn your cheek. Don't play the blind eye. Be aware of what's going on in this country and outside this country in regards to if you are a parent, if you are a grandparent, an aunt, uncle, cousin, just know that we have agencies in place that have the ability to remove children without you breaking the law or abusing your niece, nephew, son, or that sort of thing. But just be more aware and have that conversation, and just bring your awareness to know that we have things in place that agencies like Child Protective Services can come right in and remove your children for false allegations or whatever the case may be. Just be more aware. And in regards to my family, keep speaking out. Keep speaking out. And another thing is, we're always going to emphasize how grateful we are as a family that people have prioritized our situation with Amin Ra and with our set. Like, people have reached out from all over and have literally empathized to the level where it's as if they were family themselves. So we thank you for empathizing at that level, for you not to have met us before, but you just know within your hearts that we're good parents. So thank you to all those people. And anybody that may have any questions or maybe kind of so-so about this situation, I'm going to speak on behalf of me as a man and as a husband and as a father, that my life is this woman right here, our children, and we also have 3 other children currently in our household. Our life revolves around health, balance, and doing what we can to guide our children, and also be that light for any other child that may be needed within our community. That is our entire life. So if anybody don't know who we are, if you go online and you look at the images of us, that's our day. We spend a lot of time in nature. We spend a lot of time amongst people. And it's just to share a positive light towards the next generation. So right now, we have been stripped from our rights to having that ability to even protect our own babies. But through this process of getting our babies back, we feel the need to also spread awareness about the situation, because we don't want this to continue to happen to other families. So I just want to say just thank you to all those people that have reached out from an unconditional level, because the way we see it is how people have empathized, where they see our problem as their problem. It's vice versa. We don't want this happening to you as well. So I just want to say thank you on behalf of our family for that unconditional support, and just be more aware, and don't be naive to what is going on in this world. If this can happen to us, it can happen to you. I'm just being honest with you. We have no criminal background. We have no history with DCF. We have done nothing wrong. People have access. Do you wish you've done anything different? No, because my wife and myself, every decision that we make is very precise and very thought out. So we know who we are. We know what our culture is. We know what we represent. We know that we value health, right? We know that we value community. So everything that they are attacking and amongst to what my family represents is a part of the future, which is community, working together, which is health. These are things that are needed to make sure that the next generation is thriving. So thank you for the support, the continued support. And we're here to get our babies back and also hold everyone accountable and have justice. So there's a light that shed and said, if we're not able as adults to protect our own babies, what are we doing as a collective, as adults? We're more than just a career, going to a job. What I mean? We have to be able to protect the babies and be transparent about that. No group of people has the right to force their way of thinking on another group of people. This is a world of diversity. So as long as you are operating in the confinements of the law, you have the right to express your culture. And that's all we are. Our culture is extremely connected to nature and the natural ways of living. Nothing that we do is detrimental to our babies. And it's already proof, because we already have 3 other children in the home. I want everybody to know that video that you seen on the side of the road where our newborn was taken, there were 3 other children, an 8, a 7, and a 5-year-old also in that car. So how can anybody rationally see that, okay, there's 3 other children in this home that are safe, but then there's another, and then Amin Ra, and I said it's not safe as well? To me, that is irrational. So for any parent that empathizes or any person that values community, this is what we are currently living through. It's a lot of irrational decisions that Child Protective Services and DCF and the Safe Children Coalition has done, where they have criminalized us based off of how we articulate ourselves, how we move, the drumming, the things that is not normal in the environment that we live in. So I just want to say thank you to the support from everyone on behalf of my family, that I don't wish this upon anybody. And as a mother, to me, if I have to experience what I've experienced, to watch my wife cry, to see her hurt and can't do nothing about it. And then for have them to be so arrogant and be arrogant to feel that they're doing right by my family and they know they're wrong. Even when we get our babies back, there's trauma that they don't put my family through. And even with all that trauma, I don't have no, as a family, we don't have no issue with you. So if DCF, CPS, Safe Children Coalition, Children's Legal Services, every party that's involved, the courts is with this, we don't have an issue with you. We just want our babies back. And we want every person that has done wrong by us to be held accountable. There's nothing wrong with that. And so when they try to bait us to get us to respond in an aggressive way or a negative way, we don't do that. We're a very peaceful people. A lot of people that have contacted us, they're like, man, if that would have happened to me, I would have done this and done that. At the end of the day, and my wife, we don't have an issue with these people, but they have an issue with us. We operate in the confinements of the law and of statute, and we respect that. So we have seen criminal behavior towards us. So the support that we have gotten, we are thankful because we don't want nobody to go through this.
Yeah, I never imagined my first experience in motherhood being this way, but all of this, there has to be change that comes from this. That's how I see it. Because the way things spiraled out of control inside of a place that is supposed to be hospitable, I couldn't fully understand and understand inside of me what was really going on. And, you know, I play back all the moments all the time, and it just was all that. That's not how it was supposed to be. You know, I went somewhere to get assistance. My baby was supposed to come home with me. My baby should be home with me, with us. That's the way it's supposed to be. We should have never been criminalized for getting assistance for something. That's not the way it's supposed to be. This is unacceptable.
It's unacceptable. It's not, we got to remember, and this is one thing I would like to say, because this is the opportunity to say it. For doctors, nurses, any medical professionals, you are a civil servant. Your job, you took that role, you chose to go into that career to serve the people collectively. You knew getting into that profession, you are going to deal with a diversity of people. You're not going to deal with one demographic of people. So it's your responsibility that regardless of who comes in, what they look like, what race they are, what their cultural background is to be transparent and be there to assist. To be there to assist any family that's coming into your environment in the reason why your institution was put in place. Hospitals, doctors' offices, dentists, anything under the ladder. Your objective is to serve. You are a civil servant. Your role is not to dominate and judge parents. So this is something that, like I say, we don't wish this on nobody, because all we have ever done is make conscious, responsible decisions in regards to our babies based off of our belief of knowing that all the answers are in nature. That's not my opinion. The science has been done. So when we go into these medical institutions collectively as a people, I just hope that if you are a nurse or a doctor, a nurse practitioner, a lactation specialist, whoever the case may be, that you can be more transparent and respect people's cultural beliefs and cultural background. Listen to them, because that didn't happen to us. Listen to each other. Just because you never seen free-form locks or natural curls or or never experienced something doesn't mean you have the right to judge it. So if you are from a part of the country I've never experienced, I want to hear about it. I want to learn from you so I can know how to respect you. That didn't happen with my family. Being vegan is not a crime. Not eating meat and consuming dairy is not a crime. The science has been done about meat and dairy causing cancer in the body. So we're not here to debate that. We just want to know that as a people, collectively, we have the right to be transparent with each other and respect each other. And that you don't have the right as professionals to judge a group of people and criminalize them because of how they speak and how they look or what their cultural background is. That's all this whole situation is about. And I repeat again, we have not broken any law. We have not broken any statute. We are a respectful family that is aware of what so-called rules are in place to operate in this country. And the fact that we have been criminalized and been attacked like this for almost half of a year right now, and Amin Ra has not been returned, we're just here to say thank you for everybody supporting us. Just thank you. And we are grateful for it.
Your support helps us
bring light to all of this, because the change is going to happen. It's going to happen. That's
Thank you all.
Thank you so much, Sai and Tai. I'm going to answer one question that was asked, a clarification question. The 3 children that Tai was referring to are Tai's biological children. That was Miss Lee, Tai's biological children with a previous partner. So hopefully that clarifies the media's question about that. The other questions we are going to have to save for another time or in writing. I've welcomed back Jasmine Rand, attorney, to the stage. I've also welcomed Denisha Prendergast, who will close our meeting today. Denisha Prendergast is an actress, an activist, the co-founder of We Have the Right to Be Right. She's also Bob Marley's great-granddaughter, my apologies. And I'll welcome Denisha to the stage.
Greetings, everybody. Give thanks for being here and give thanks for taking the time to support Sai and Tai. It's a very important call to action for us as human beings within this time. We see what is happening with our world. We see as adults what is happening, and we try to be present to be the change. But if we can't be present to save our children from certain trauma, does it not then mean that the seeds that are being sown right now will never bear the potential fruit that they can? Sai and Tai, as I've said to you before, and I will say to you again, Aset and Amin Ra have aunties and uncles all over the world who are fighting for them. You are not alone. Today is Marcus Garvey's birthday. Marcus Garvey, one of the greatest civil rights leaders of our times. He was the one who first said, emancipate yourself from slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds, which is then echoed in Bob Marley's music. And I want to call our attention to that right now. If we do not lift our voices in protest, if we do not stand up and shine our light as bright and as far and as wide as we can reach, if we do not do what we can do today, then there will be no tomorrow. We have the right to be right. And protocol should never supersede humanity. Aset was born on August the 1st, Emancipation Day. There's no coincidence in that. And as Derek mentioned earlier, Amin Ra means son, and Aset means coming together. With this situation, we will continue to shine a light on the systemic racism that is happening institutionally all across the United States that is now calling our children to be victims while in front of us. Please, public, please, players who can do something about it, do the right thing. We have the right to be right. Thank you so much for your support. And I just want to draw your attention to the fact that this movement has just started. There are other families out there who are calling for attention, who are calling for a platform, who are crying every single night, families being broken. please use this wave to share their stories as well. Bring our babies home. Bring Ra home, bring Aset home, bring our babies home. There will be a rally that is being planned by the family this Sunday. Stay tuned for more details. We are looking for your support. Natural lifestyle has been vilified, and we want to show you that before we fight, we are willing to educate. So come support, learn. We don't need to be afraid of each other. One love is an action, not just a song that my grandfather sang. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, Denisha. As I said before to the press, Denisha is one of the co-founders of our organization with whom I'm appearing today. We Have the Right to Be Right. We Have the Right to Be Right is going to funnel a lot of the media requests and other questions coming in from the public. I would like to remind everyone at this press conference that there has been a GoFundMe set up for the family. It will be used for everything from legal fees to organizing to caring for the family, and those links and those media assets as well will be made available to all registered participants in today's session. So please stay tuned with in your emails so that we can distribute those, so those can be more widely shared. I do want to thank on behalf of all of the attorneys here, firstly, thanking all the attorneys who have made the time to attend today, who are up on the stage with me right now. Mr. Crump had to leave us early. He's in high demand. Thank you so much, Attorney Rand, Attorney McBurrows, Attorney Baptiste. Thank you to all of the Right to Be Right volunteers who have been working with the family thus far. Thank you to everyone who has donated to the GoFundMe. Thank you to everyone who attended today, who has sent in questions. We know that we have hundreds of people viewing live on the YouTube right now. We also thank you for your support, for your questions. We will distribute as much information as possible. The Right to Be Right website is rtbr.ca. It's a central location where there will be media assets. I know that there was a question about whether or not there will be permission to share the video that Syesha shared on her Instagram Live, possibly with the children's faces blurred out. We will get instructions from the family and we will get back to the press about that as quickly as possible, because I know there's some deadlines at 2 p.m. today. So thank you all for bringing our attention to that. We also want to thank a number of celebrities and influencers who have taken on the cause, who have spread awareness and publicized the situation with Syesha and Tyron. Specifically, we want to thank Kim Kardashian and Tina Knowles and a number of other influencers and individuals who really care about this family, who have made an effort to share their opinions and support and to broadcast this to their audiences as well. So thank you all for that. Thank you so much, Denisha, for sharing your wise words and the words of your grandfather and Marcus Garvey as well. It's an honor and a privilege to be in this room for me with everyone here, and I will be closing out the session today. Peace, love, and blessings from everyone, to everyone, for everyone. Thank you so much, and everyone have a wonderful day. Okay.